Today I have tons of new stuff to show you, new to me, that I haven't tried before. Some of the stuff maybe I've tried a couple of times, but it's still quite new to me, and I was gonna test a load of stuff out and get ready to film some things, and I thought, why not turn on the camera and do that with you? So, first of all, did I have a primer? I think I didn't have a primer because the foundation that I'm going to use is kind of similar texture to the primer I would have used, but I am going to use the Milk Makeup Cooling Water. Is that what it's called? Cooling water. Just to show you it actually in action. So I've seen some US bloggers that I follow and YouTubers use this, and I picked this up when we were in Las Vegas in the summertime, and I really like the feel of it on my skin. As other people have said, you can use this anywhere, but it has the greatest effect underneath your eyes, especially if you're getting ready first thing in the morning and your eyes are feeling quite puffy and tired. It really does have a cooling effect, and I don't keep this anywhere cold. It just has that within it. And the thing that I have liked about this so far is the texture is quite hard. It's soft enough that it's, you know, soft against your skin, but it doesn't feel like that kind of texture that's going to melt, because I had one of these from Embryolisse that I really, really enjoyed using, but it melted. It was like, it's a very, very small product, and it just felt like it just was never going to last that long. So I've put that underneath my eyes. I have no moisturiser or anything on because I feel like this needs to be completely bare skin. I've really struggled to make this work in the past, but I'm trying with it. And it is the Effaclar BB Blur Instant Oil Absorbing Coverage Cream Mousse. The colour that I've got is fair to light, and it also has SPF 20. Now I've applied this with a beauty blender, I've applied it with my fingertips. I just haven't managed to make it work yet, so I'm going to apply it with a brush and see. It does definitely have a moussey kind of texture to it. In theory, that's going to be great for pores, and it's going to kind of work in the same way that, say, Benefit Professional does. But, like I say, it's kind of in the past not quite worked for me. But people love this, so I'm giving it another go. I really do feel like it is just sitting on my skin, and the brush is just smearing it around my face. It really is picking up on every little area of texture and dryness. I am going to just leave it on and put the rest of my makeup on, because I kind of just want to see whether or not it helps to keep me matte, because that's the whole point of that foundation, is to try and balance any oil. But I am going to put on this Rose Floral Toner from Fresh because it is really hydrating, and it's a product that I feel like works quite well when I've got this kind of finish to a foundation that I need to make look and feel a little bit less dry. So definitely I feel like this is going to go. The weird thing about this is you can feel it's like Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse, but like reinvented for 2017. I'm going to use the Benefit Boi-ing Airbrush Concealer, which was their newest formula of concealer earlier this year. It's kind of cushioned. I'll show you what it looks like when you kind of touch. It's got like a... It's very, very creamy, but it's almost like whipped, I would say, in texture compared to the original Boi-ing. It's much lighter feeling. Then I've got this Sculpt and Contour stick from B Beauty. Unfortunately, I've only got the dark shade, but I'm going to try it. It's probably going to look crazy, but I'm determined to get this down. That was probably a mistake near my nose, because that's a fair bit too deep for me, but really, really nice to blend. I'm not going to use the other end of it because it's supposed to be a highlighter, and obviously that's more kind of just skin tone for me. But I am going to use the Becca liquid highlight that I mentioned in my haul video, which is in Opal. And I don't usually do this, but we're going to give it a go. Oh my god. There's so many products that I can't open! Why are things so difficult to get into? I really quite like that. That's just a little bit of glow and really, really no sparkle at all, which is perfect. I'd be interested to know what that would look like blended in with a nice foundation. My only problem with that is obviously when you put any kind of highlight near textured areas of skin, like your pores or near fine lines or dryness, it exaggerates everything and makes everything look worse. So whenever I think of like radiant foundation, it always makes me a little bit nervous. But that was really pretty, so we'll see. Maybe I'll give it a go. I'm going to use that banana powder that I used in the Makeup Revolution video. Does anybody else? I think it's because we've been, well, it definitely is because we've been watching Will and Grace recently. We've been watching the DVDs because we're so excited for the new season. I've no idea where it's going to be played in the UK. If anyone can tell me that, you'll be my favourite person. However, we've been rewatching them, and do you remember the episode where Karen gets that British maid, where they have the conversation about the banana? It is so funny. If I remember, I'll try and link the clip below because Lee and I have been saying it to each other like for the past week. Oh, banana. I like that powder, it's very light, but I cannot believe how bad that foundation is. Just looked at it really closely in the mirror and ugh. I was gonna use a cheek tint. I keep forgetting blush. However, I can't now. So I'm going to use this, which I've hardly used, and it's the Kevyn Aucoin Contour Duo. And again, this was one of my Sephora buys earlier this year, and it's got the sculpting powder in medium and the celestial powder in candlelight. This is a great way to try, again, a product that is ordinarily super pricey. I don't even know if I've tried the contour powder at all, because, you know, I'm so anti-contour, but I really wanted to try the celestial powder. And so I bought this just for that, thinking, oh, I'll try it, and then I never did. Might have gone too far. Less is more, must remember. This side has definitely gone wrong. This side doesn't look terrible. You know, it's a learning curve. Let's blend it on the foundation. Then the celestial powder. The viewfinder of this camera is not as high quality as the actual video. And so when I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh yes, looks beautifully airbrushed. But when I actually come to see this on the computer, it might not look like that at all. I am a fan. Very pretty in natural light too. Eyes, eyes, eyes. I'm going to use the NYX Proof It Waterproof Eyeshadow Primer. And then I'm going to use the Becca Highlight in Opal. And this is the powder one. And I'm going to use these things on my eyes. And apparently I don't have those clips. Another product from B, it's the Duo Liner. This side is a proper felt tip. And then the other side, which is the side that I like, is a much, much thinner and more flexible tip. There's something about the texture of that tip that's really, really easy to control, and it doesn't drag along the eye in the same way that most felt tip liners do. But I find that really, really easy. So if you're a newbie at liquid liner, and especially wings, I think that's a really good one. Then I'm going to use this mascara, which is the Monsieur Big from Lancome, which I actually wasn't going to give even a chance. I saw it and it was a huge brush, but for those of you that have watched my recent videos, I have been so in love with the smoky eye from Bobbi Brown, which is again the same thing. I opened it up and thought, ugh, but I really, really like that one. And so I gave this one a go, and I really like this one too. I think I did mention this in my haul, my NYX Taupe Brow / Eye Pencil, and I'm just going to put that underneath my eyes for a little bit of shadow without feeling like I've got a lot of colour or a lot of darkness. I think that when I do the liquid eyeliner, this is the perfect kind of under eye thing that gives me just a little bit of definition. And I think it still gives me that slightly larger eye look, rather than closing it in with an even darker liner on the bottom half as well. Okay, last step, we've got lip, and I mentioned this in my haul. This is the Superstay Matte Ink. I think the colour was Lover. It was, it's number 15, Lover. This is lovely. My lips are quite dry right now, and that is not picking that up at all. It's not exaggerating any of the dryness. It feels really, really nice. It feels like it's gonna set actually. When I swatched it on my hand, and I realise now, I never told you at the end of the video what it felt like. When I swatched it on my hand, it didn't initially feel like it was going to dry down, and I'm consciously not trying to put my lips together so that it can set, and we can see what it looks like. But it does feel like it's setting. Wait a couple of minutes to see whether or not it would dry down. It does seem to be touch dry, like nothing's coming up on my finger when I touch it, nothing at all, but it does still feel ever so slightly sticky on the inside. So maybe that's just, oh, it's almost totally dry now. Okay, so it does dry down to a matte. I love the finish. Doesn't seem to exaggerate anything dry or anything like that. Any of the imperfections in my lips, amazing. It is starting to feel quite dry. So if you are liking like a weightless, something that you can't feel, this might not be for you. Love the colour, but first impressions are favourable. If you want me to do a day test with some of the ones that I picked up recently, let me know. So that is it. I'm off to film some bits and pieces now before the school run. I hope you enjoyed my little new stuff get ready with me. I will link what I can below, at very least list everything that I've used, that I can remember that I've used anyway. And yeah, the one thing that I wanted to kind of leave you with, as I was putting on this highlight, the eyeshadow highlight, I was thinking, what shall I call this video? And the first thing that came to my mind was Stop and Twinkle. Little tiny story for you. Milo, when he was in reception, which was last year, we found out towards the end of the year there was a thing that his teacher said, and I think this is such an amazing thing. And if you have small children, or you know, just any children that they need something where you're not kind of like, oh my God, please listen to me. Something where they know when you say it, everybody listens. And something that his teacher used to say was, stop and twinkle. And all of the children in the class, whenever she said stop and twinkle, would have to put down whatever they were using, and they had to do this. This is twinkle. Stop and twinkle. So it's basically like hands on your head, but stop and twinkle. I love it. I still use it with him now. Ever since I found out about it, I use it. And every single time I think of anything sparkly, it makes me think stop and twinkle. So yeah, spread the twinkle love. Use this in your everyday life. Use it at work. Stop and twinkle in a meeting. Makes meetings more fun. Makes listening more fun. I would go to more meetings if there was stop and twinkle.